A very good day to all of you out there. This is admav here with another episode of admav's Corner. A warm hello to all of you. Happy Friday. It is August 26th, 2022. And it is... Well, actually, it's kind of stormy outside, but regardless, I would still say it's a nice day. I actually find heavy rain days very relaxing. The sound of the rain hitting the window pane. There's something about it, There's something very relaxing and therapeutic about it. But here in southern Ontario in Canada, we don't really get heavy rain. I mean, we do sometimes, but it's not even sometimes. It's so seldom that it happens that I don't really remember the last time there was heavy rainfall. And if there was heavy rainfall, it wouldn't last for too long. Like in previous episodes of this podcast, I've talked about my recent trip to the Philippines. Well, it's not recent anymore. It's approaching a year old. But yeah, like just about a year ago, I went to the Philippines, and it rains proper over there. I mean, any of those like countries in Southeast Asia, especially when it's like rainy season, it rains hard, like legit, and for a while. And there's just something really comfortable about being indoors, warm and in your comfy bed and having the air conditioner running. I don't know. It's such a luxurious thing, but there's something very relaxing about that. I know it's a very privileged position to be in when you can relax while it's raining heavy, but it's just relaxing, the sound of it. Anyways, I'm getting distracted here. I am exhausted this week. I am just running on fumes. I have been running on fumes for like the last several days. It's just been really busy at work, and that means more walking for me. And that's not a problem. It's just tiring, especially my assignment this month. It doesn't really involve that much like walking, but due to what's going on at work and how busy it's been, I just had to help out, and I'm happy to help out. By the way, shout outs to all my coworkers, my colleagues. I think a few of them have listened to and do listen to this podcast, so shout out to you guys. To get, you know what? I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say it. There's like a tagline at work, but I'm not gonna say it here. This is a very sacred place. This is a very safe space. As I always say every week, everyone is welcome here. If you have anything that you want to talk about or express, feel free to leave a comment, message, however you feel like. You're welcome here. It's a safe space to discuss anything and everything, pretty much, about life, how you're doing, etc., etc. But yeah, pretty pooped, and due to my exhaustion, I don't know, I'm feeling kind of low energy. But now that I'm in front of the microphone, I feel a little bit better, being able to talk to you guys, and just thinking about this week. And yeah, even though I'm running low on energy, I still actually have an idea of what I kind of wanted to talk about today. One of my favorite bands, actually, they've been my favorite band this year. You guys know I love listening to music. It's one of my favorite things to do on my free time. And my favorite band this year has been this Toronto-based band called Valley. They're an indie pop band, and I am just completely fixated on their music. I don't know, I pretty much love everything that they do. And the reason why I've been such a huge fan of their music this year is, first of all, they're catchy as heck. I mean, Rob, the lead singer of Valley, described when they're writing music that sometimes they aim to make like what they like to call ear candy, and it's like the perfect description to their music because the music is just so dang catchy. But it's not just that, it's also that their music, there's just something about their music. They have some songs in there that are kind of like, if you really pay attention to the lyrics, it's kind of sad, but there's this upbeat nature to how they make music that's just so undeniably head bobbing. You know, you just can't help but vibe with the music. And they're not all sad, by the way. There's a good mix in there, but a lot of their music does sound upbeat, does sound positive. Even the sad ones, most of the sad ones are upbeat and positive. And one of my favorite songs from the roster of music is this song titled Hiccup. Now, Hiccup, oh man, I can't even begin to describe how much I love this song. It's been my favorite song of the year. Um, Even though initially the first song I fell in love with from Valley was There's Still a Light in the House, which is also an amazing song, still one of my favorites, my top 3 from that band. But I think if I'm going to be completely honest, Hiccup has usurped that number 1 spot. And I don't know, it's just the song, there's just something about that song that I keep coming back to, and no matter how many times I listen to it. The song is essentially about missing somebody that was in your life and is now gone, but you're thinking about them, wondering what they're doing. And right at the very end of the song explains why the song's called Hiccup, is because metaphorically there was a hiccup in the relationship and it caused a split between the singer and the person that they're referring to. Now, it's heavily implied, especially through verse 2, that this is between two lovers or like in a relationship. But to me, it does mean that to me as well. And it means a lot to me that it's about a couple, a romantic relationship. But it also is something that just gives me feeling of nostalgia, of saudade, and I love it. I love that balance. I always call it like the umami of music, because to be able to balance something that's so like a sound that sounds so positive, yet lyrically it's pretty somber, you know, pretty, but it's subtle. It's not, it doesn't, it's not, it's not very melancholy, but it's still obviously sad enough where it's like, wow, you feel a bit sad, but the music is so upbeat and so catchy and so fun that you're able to sort of celebrate being sad a little bit, you know, being able to celebrate missing somebody and wishing that they could be in your life again and that you'd know what they were doing at this very moment. Typically can be very sad, and it's still sad in this case, but you're allowed to celebrate missing somebody because you kind of remember things fondly. And I don't know, for me, that brings a smile to my face, and it's a very positive thing, to be honest. And so I think when I was really thinking about it, because this month I've been able to listen to more music at work while working. Typically I don't, but this month I've been able to, and I love this live version that Valley plays of Hiccup. It's at Capitol Studios, I think, in LA. It's great. Please go check it out. Actually, before we move on further, just honestly, just please check out Valley. They're an amazing indie pop band that makes really fun music that can really lift your spirits or just get you vibing, you know, get you enjoying the moment. Anyways, I love them. Check them out. Check out Hiccup. Check out their other songs. But yeah, I was at work and Hiccup comes on, and it's that live version that I mentioned. And I'm just thinking to myself, why do I love this song so much? I mean, other than the catchy, you know, hook and the chorus, and even how the whole song, just sonically, it sounds awesome. lyrically it's cool. Like I said, it strikes a balance of sadness, but not being too heavy on the sadness, on the melancholy. And it hits the perfect amount of like nostalgia and sadage. I'm not, I'm not the best, I guess, at describing uh, music, but this is just I'm literally expressing how I feel about when I listen, or how I feel about it when I listen to the song. And to me, whenever I listen to to this particular track, I realized why I enjoy it so much. It's it's because I it's because I realized that the song, to me, at the very least to me, reminds me of all the people in my life that have been left behind. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. I don't mean that in a sense where I intentionally left them behind, though uh, some of them definitely that is the case. But just everyone that's been left behind in your history as a person, but were there was but they were there in your life and contributed to your life somehow, some way, even if just for that period in your life or that moment in your life, they were still a part of your life. And this song really reminded me of that. Really made me appreciate all those that I've befriended, whether platonically or romantically, that have somehow impacted my life and now are no longer within my life. Now I'm no longer in contact with. And I was, yeah, I was a little sad. I was feeling a little nostalgic, but I felt very appreciative too. And I felt grateful for where I'm at now and how I got here. And it, I would be remiss if I didn't think about those people and didn't give them the appreciation that they deserve. You know, even people I think that have done something to me negatively. I mean, there's obviously levels to this, right? I'm not talking about serious, serious. I mean, I'm not, okay. This is very difficult because I don't want to downplay any kind of trauma. This is for me only, right? When I say that, I remember things fondly, even though even of those people who sort of didn't treat me right. But I know that there are people out there, maybe some of you guys out there, that have been treated really absolutely like not even a person by somebody else. And things might have gotten much worse, in terms of those interactions. And I like, like assault or something, and there's different ways of processing things. And of course, there's yeah, there's a lot of different things that people experience in their lives that can be so traumatic and so tragic. So I don't want to downplay that. I'm not saying that anyone would at some point feel nostalgic or feel good about that. No. What I'm trying to say is that there are moments where there are people in my life that I didn't really consider necessarily a friend or even a positive influence. Okay, for example, there was this one dude who we all, my friends and I, called Pingu, um, in in school. But this guy, I don't know what he's doing now. He could be a very, decent person now. Could be an upstanding citizen. Who knows? But at the time, he was very annoying. Um, he was hard to deal with because he's one of those guys that just feel like they have to always show off or be cool, even though he wasn't even really part or completely part of the quote unquote cool kids club. Um, I was a really quiet kid in high school, and I tell everybody that I meet when I talk about my high school experience, I was pretty much an invisible person. Like I was just you know, I laid in the cut. I didn't really make noise. No one really knew me. I didn't even really get bullied or anything like that. It's just as if I literally didn't exist. But the whole high school thing, we can talk about that in another episode. But the point is, I didn't exist. So it was easy for him to try to pull off his shenanigans with me because I'm quiet, right? I don't really talk to anybody. I don't really mess with anybody. So I was in line in the cafeteria, and this guy basically comes in and starts talking big, starts saying some dumb stuff. And I warn him, like, you keep talking that talk. Yeah, I'm gonna shove you. Like, I gave him fair warning. I was like, I'm gonna shove you. That's it. And he continued to talk, continued being annoying, even though I asked him nicely to just like cut it out. He didn't. So I shoved him. Not too hard. I'm not really a violent person, but at that point, I shoved him, and he's like, all right, calm down, and he stopped. And I remember that positively now I because I thinking about it now, I wouldn't think of doing that sort of thing. You know, being like engage someone in a physical manner like that. But I'm glad that I did at that time because that stopped whatever was going on then. Because if you got to stick up for yourself, right? And I'm glad that I did even back then. And man, like me in high school, I barely stuck up for myself. You know, I talked about this in many recent podcast episodes. You gotta like you gotta stick up for yourself, and I've learned to do that a lot more these days. But before I go off on a tangent here about high school further, um, the point is this person was a part of my life. I still remember his name. I still remember that interaction. I haven't forgotten him at all. And now it's like what, 15 years later? I think 15 years. But I don't hold a grudge against that guy. He was a part of my history. And that, even though it was this small interaction, it's like a it's like a it's like a humble gem that you find, lost in the shuffle of your past. It's like, hey, I stood up for myself that time. I have that in me. So I've always had that in me, except I didn't cultivate enough. And the only reason why I did it that time was because I was kind of pushed to my limit. And so I remember this memory fondly. And it's not like, when I'm talking about the song, I'm trying to remember this guy and trying to like imagine if he's doing well now. No, no, no. I mean, I hope he's doing well, but it's not something I actively think about. But the point is, you up until this point, right? For like a vast majority of people, there have been interactions with people in your life. And obviously, you want to hold on and remember the good ones, and you want to kind of forget the bad ones. But that was just kind of like this example I wanted to give that sometimes it's not necessarily when you think of the past and you think of something fondly, sometimes it's not necessarily a positive thing initially, like with that interaction. Anyways, yeah, that's why that's why I love that song. That's why I love Hiccup, because it makes me think of the people I left behind, people that have impacted my life, people that have shown me something. And of course, based on recent episodes, my history with my past relationships and the women that were in my life, and I totally feel that when I listen to the song. And I still feel like I don't feel the same as I did when I was in a relationship with those women, but it sort of brings back it harkens back to that time. Like I can feel a little bit of it, but just enough to help me appreciate the good times then. And that's all I kind of really need. And it feels good because it sort of also acts as a reminder of how far I've come and how I am the person that I am today. And I hope everyone has something that helps them see these sort of things, like whether it's music or video games or movies. But for me, it's definitely music, and recently it's been Hiccup. So, yeah, that's really kind of what's been on my mind. And that's about it. I know it's kind of a short episode. I mean, this is longer than some. This is not my shortest episode, but it's still still feel like it's pretty short. But yeah, I just wanted to share that and maybe get you guys to think about the people in your lives that you left behind but have impacted your life in a positive manner. Who are those people? Are they still in your life? Do you think about them? Because being able to appreciate how you got here can help you appreciate the present moment, which is, in my opinion, the best way to live. If you can do it, try to do it as much as you can. It won't always be like that. Sometimes you face difficulties where you can't just focus on the present, but that's okay. It happens. It's normal. That's human. That's a very human thing. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm really glad that I'm back here for another episode and for another week to be able to get to talk to you guys. And I wish you all a great weekend. Until next time, take care.